bonus. So I'm in a rather noisy pub, but I've got my noise cancelling headphones on, so that should work okay. I'm joined with George Patterson from Arrowforth, and he's going to assist me with the facilitation and being master of ceremonies and all that sort of thing, because I'm going to be master organ player, I think, but bringing people on and chucking them out. So, George, just tell us a little bit about Arrowforth before we
So
before we
Arrowforth came
go on.
out of a specialist technical consultancy that was founded in 2010 after I'd been working at the Defence Academy after a career in the Army. And there was an opportunity to provide some assurance facilities for the MOD. So rather than go with a prime, me and some guys in the office went for it. It supplied niche defence and security and military customers. And last year, because I've been running the back office and set up the talent function, I was offered a buyout by my business partners, which was very grateful, very amicable. So Arrowforth is about connecting exceptional people with outstanding companies, principally service leavers, because there's so much offer there. 15,000 leave a year from the military, which is 10% of all uniformed personnel. There's 2.4 million veterans in the UK, but only 40% are from 16 to 64, which is still 960,000 people. But the majority are over 65. That's 1.44 million.
Yeah,
And companies are really at a loss if they don't give veterans a serious look,
yeah,
because they have an awful lot to offer any sort of organization, with the resilience, the dynamism, um, just
indeed. And we've on in through Veterans Voice. This is the Christmas bonus, but we've had 15 episodes before this. 16 is tomorrow. Hi, Robert. How are you doing? So we've had several veterans voices sessions, and what we're trying to do is show help veterans or service leavers on their journey, but also show people that maybe haven't served in the armed forces or are looking to hire veterans the benefit of hiring a veteran.
well,
And you've
it
got
gives two
quite a good
sense.
little mnemonic, haven't you?
I've got the CBI definition of employability here, right? So there's 8 points. So think about this with a veteran's optic: positive attitude, self-management, team working, business and customer awareness, problem solving, communication and literacy, application of numeracy, and application of information technology. Every single person in the uniform service can hit all those points, you know, in a minute. And that's the
Absolutely.
thing. It's just, it makes common sense to see, veterans. The definition of competitive advantage is rare, valuable, and hard to imitate. And again, veterans hit them every single time. There's
Yeah,
only 15,000 entering the workplace every year. They're valuable because they've got all those sort of value add skills, the soft skills, the mission and outcome focused, attitude, the resilience, etc. And they're hard to imitate. You know, people that have no experience of service. You know, some of them have a tendency. It's 5 o'clock. Click. I'm off.
yeah.
Whereas veterans will say, right, the job's not quite done. Let's get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said that better myself. Now we've got quite a full session. We've got now a full hour-long session, and I have a fear that we might drag over a little bit. So the first half today is some veterans that are looking for work or are open to work, and so we've got three of those on. A couple of them have had to drop out, unfortunately, for personal circumstances, but we've got three that we're going to talk to in a minute. And then the second half, after 6:30, 6. We've got 6 companies coming on that will be, and you'll see them on the ticker tape going along the bottom, that will be talking about their companies, the roles they've got to offer, and the sort of people they're looking for. And we'll get some contact details in there at the end, and have a look on there. Stick around, say hi, like some people are like what Richard has said in the comments. Say hi, and we'll try and include you in the show. So first up, we have a veteran's voice veteran. He's probably after me, he's probably the most visited person on Veterans Voice. We've got Peter Mansfield. Hi, Peter. How are you doing?
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. You were my first and my second Veterans Voice, and the 14th, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what episode's this now? 16, 17?
Well, this is 16, but it doesn't count because it's the Christmas bonus.
You're getting out of it that way then.
16 is tomorrow. 15 was last week. So we're getting that way. So what we're doing, the format here is we'll just have a little bit of a chat, 5 to 7 minutes, just showcasing a person, and then the companies will do the same a bit later. So just give us a bit of a flavour of what you've done in the army and what you've done in Civvy Street.
Yeah, no, certainly. I left what now feels like when the British Army was still wearing red coats and forming squares on battlefields. But I left in beginning early 2001. I had served the majority of my time in regimental service. So I was a gunner for my sins, and served in Germany. In Colchester and up in the northeast of England and Newcastle upon Tyne and Warminster, and from there deployed on several operational tours and big exercises, etc. So all of those sort of things. And then latterly, the last couple of years, I was the SO3, so Staff Officer Grade 3, responsible for training. Based in Warminster, and we looked after the operation. It was a small team, tri-service team, and we looked after the operational training for troops deploying to Bosnia, Kosovo, Timor, Sierra Leone, and Cyprus. So it was a fairly full. I think there was only 12 of us in the team, so we were pretty much on the hamster wheel. 7 days a week for the couple of years that people were posted there. But great time. And I was very lucky in my service. I did a couple of trips abroad working for the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. So I ran training teams in Namibia and Thailand and Brunei as well. It was great fun.
Absolutely. And so some great transferable skills there, and stuff that you wouldn't normally pick up in a normal run-of-the-mill career straight out of school into an office job. So what did you do in Civvy Street, and where are you at the moment?
Yeah, so when I left, there was no career transition, as they call it now, no learning credits or whatever else it's called, and I literally left. They did say there was a half-day resettlement course at Beaconsfield, and if I wanted to go, I had to phone up and book my place on the course. And I said, "Oh right, so can I get a rail warrant or a hire car or something to get down to Beaconsfield to go on the course?" "Oh no. Now that you're leaving, you've got to sort yourself out." So that's all. So I needed to say I didn't go, and
very marching pace.
Absolutely, and I was fortunate enough, and I didn't know what was out there. So I was fortunate enough. I joined Britannia Building Society on a management fast track program, and for somebody leaving the services, it was brilliant because I ran a call center for 6 months. I was a branch manager for 6 months. I worked in finance, operations, and IT, so got a really good grounding. And then I got promoted, and I was appointed as managing director of Britannia International, which was Britannia's offshore banking arm. So I, after 2.5 years or so out of the army, was running an offshore bank. And what I didn't know about offshore banking was probably worth knowing when I started. But I think it's one of the transferable skills that the military gives everybody is that they can quickly put you in somewhere, and your ability to assimilate information, come up with a plan and execute on that plan quickly and take people is a very valuable skill and something not to be taken lightly.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
something, every time you've been everyone will know this from experience, a handover, if you're lucky, the incumbent's there, more likely than not.
Yeah.
And you've got a week to become an expert in that field.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's something that, civilian employees need to really understand, this ability to, as you say, assimilate, this ability to adapt really quickly, to join rapidly forming teams, because we do it
Yes.
all the time. And, but as you say, service people are incredibly modest, and they downplay those huge strengths.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, and we're also programmed, because we have always service people work as teams and exist and excel as teams, is when you're selling yourself, it's very, very easy to say, we did this and we did that. But as the team leader, ultimately you're responsible for, and I even, I've been out 20 years now, I still find it very difficult to say, I did this and I did that.
Yeah.
Because it's it is a real mindset change.
Yeah. Now we speak more or less several times a week, and I know that you've been interviewing. I'll ignore that. You've been interviewing, but what sort of thing are you looking for?
Yeah, well, I've had jobs, and I've worked all over the country since I've left, and despite my graying hair and everything, I'd quite like to actually live in my house now and commute somewhere to work, rather than, I worked down in London for 2 and a bit years, and I was on the train Monday morning and coming back Friday night, which was just no way to live your life. And so I'm trying to get myself a sort of an executive director, a managing director's job, CEO job, chief operating officer, somewhere around the northwest of England. I can travel as far south, of the sort of north of Birmingham. I can get over towards Nottingham, Derby, up towards Leeds. So there's a huge area.
Peter, where are you based?
Sorry, I live in a town called Congleton, which is
I know Congleton. Yeah.
So sort of south of Manchester. So
and your LOE is about 1 hour travel.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was working in Coles Hill up until the beginning of this year, and that took.
Were you with a DIO there or what?
No, it was a telematics company.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can get the train into the centre of Birmingham, or just the outskirts is probably an hour and a quarter, an hour and 20. If it's off the toll road, it's very easy.
And what sort of roles are you after?
Executive director roles. So I'm actively targeting managing director, CEO roles, and have got a reasonable pipeline running at the moment of opportunities that I'm going through interviews for. So there's in the past 3-4 weeks, I would say there's been a bit of a rush on, and I've literally, or there was a week, I think I was approached about 3 different opportunities.
Yeah.
And all of the, some of them are still at first stage, and some of them are at second, third stage now. So it's, but I've been here before. I've had at the beginning of the springtime, I was running with 4 opportunities, and I thought, well, I'm bound to get one of these, and for various reasons, they fell by the wayside. So it's as you're working in recruitment, George, that the deal's not done until the paperwork's signed.
Well, let's hurry up and wait, and I have this every time. You have this thing of, we want people, I present people of incredible high quality, and then they go, well, we've got to think about it, we've got to go do this, we've got to do that. Right. Okay. We can have a chat later, because one thing, Matt, I don't want to be impolite. Are we allowed to talk money?
Well, I would take that offline if I were you, George. Because what I need to do is
I've got a friend who was working in crew,
right,
A great job. There's potential for it to be very interesting and good. It was head of crisis for a car manufacturer.
Okay.
He's now working for another car manufacturer as chief executive officer.
Right.
I need to speak to Nick and see if his old job is open,
Okay.
because that will be quite interesting.
Yes.
It's a premium car company. It comes with an amazing car.
Right.
Seriously. The thing is, it's funny, we met and I introduced him to a friend who worked in the car industry before we get this new job. And it was about a quarter mile from my house. And he went, "Do you want to lift home?" And I went, "Yeah, I can walk." He went, "I brought a car." And I went, "Yeah, let's get the car." But
Sorry,
the other
I'm
good
just
thing is that when I said to him, I said, "Do you get fuel?" And he went, "Yeah." I went, "That's okay then, because there's no point in getting a beautiful car if you can't afford to bloody fill it." So let's have a chat. There's definitely. I don't have your LinkedIn address.
I'll send you a message offline when I go.
And please do. You might get my details.
Yeah.
There's definitely something there. I know. I've got some other chief of staff jobs, but I think they're a bit too far south. This one would be quite interesting. He's got a bit of leverage there, so we can definitely look at that. He also turned down a job in Stoke. I know why. Because they need the employer wanted the individual to be physically a distance from where it was.
Yeah.
The head of security for a multinational, a UK-owned, UK-based multinational. So let's see if we can leverage some of those things. So that shouldn't be an issue. And there's some other bits and bobs. So definitely let's have a talk offline. You've got some incredibly impressive.
I'm going to put you back in box, Peter.
Yeah, that's fine.
And just stick around until the end of the first session, because I'm going to bring the next one on now, who's Daniel Beadle. And I've just been busy blocking. We've had some spamming. I don't know whether anyone's seen it. YouTube, we've been spammed. I've just been busy blocking that. So I'm pleased that George has been able to fill for me while I've been blocking the annoying people. So
I've been spamming you.
Daniel, yeah, sorry.
I'm really good with one hand.
Yeah.
I'm just spamming you as you.
Yeah. So we've got Daniel Beadle on next. So you're down on the south coast, aren't you, Daniel?
Yeah, live in Bournemouth area, but actually the town centre.
Yeah,
So,
and you're ex-Royal Artillery.
Yeah, ex-Royal Artillery, 24 years served with the Gunners, same regiment, 19 regiment, through and through. I was air mobile beforehand when we were light gun, converted into AS90, into mechanised, and further forward. In that career, I done numerous amounts of courses, obviously armoured vehicles, teaching. Used to teach a lot of acquisitions for H license acquisitions. So the track license, getting the H licenses from people. Done a lot of courses on there. Worked on 3 types of weapons. One being the light gun, which was the light roll, AS90 and Exacta. It was a new bit of kit came out. I got headhunted for that. That was a something that we took out in Afghan. It was with the Israeli army, so
Yeah, and so this is training. This is training and teaching people to use the equipment.
Yes,
and sort of when you came out of the armed forces, what sort of things were you doing on the outside? You've not long been out, have you?
No, I've not long been out. I got out in 2019 after my service time up. I think I was trying to claw myself back in when I heard that the army wanted to extend up until 55. I think I was trying to rip off everyone's arm to get back in, to stay in, because there was no, I didn't believe anything else. Obviously, I got out of the army and I looked for jobs, going through the transition career workshops, doing those kind of courses. Was looking at going towards cybersecurity, which obviously didn't survive first contact. To be honest, I had family issues that prevented me doing that. went into a security job, Wilson James, working for them as a scheduler.
Yeah. So you I mean, we don't need to go into the details, but you had some family issues, and now you're a single parent for two children. So
Yeah.
you're fairly tied to the central south of England, but you're looking for sort of project management, project coordinator, and sort of type roles. Yeah.
Yes, project management. I'm facilitation management qualified.
Hmm.
I've just got to get the membership, which is the IWFM course. I've just recently finished a CMI level 5 diploma in leadership course. That is in the pipeline, waiting for the results from my last assessment that went in. And like you say, yeah, I am pretty much stuck to being around here in this area, i.e. Poole, Bournemouth, Salisbury, Christchurch, but I can travel towards London, like through Southampton, and those stops, because like you say, I'm a soldier, I can get on with it. I can work
Yeah.
on the train on a laptop until I get into the office, and then as long as I can leave, pick the kids up.
Yeah. So you
That's it.
play the JFDA card there. Now you're the first one we don't know who LinkedIn user is, but he served with you, top man with a passion for fine detail. So that's good. You've already got a reference in there. So just whoever LinkedIn user is, please drop us your name in the chat, and we'll be able to find out
So,
who you are.
Matt, I've had a really good conversation prior to this with Daniel, and he's got an awful lot to offer. We've discussed potential options, things such as Dorset Police, because the headquarters is there and there's quite a lot of jobs. Potentially Bournemouth Airport. There's a lot of back office banking operations in Bournemouth and Poole.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about facilities management, very, very prescient, because I was speaking to a large company that does that, and they've got some facilities management running at Porton Down. And I've just googling Google Maps, and that's 53 minutes. So I need to go back to them tomorrow and say, look, we've got someone who's a really good candidate.
Yeah, and so just after this, and this is for all the people that we're bringing on, just stick your tag in the comments after this, so people who want to get hold of you can actually can click on your tag. So Sean Riley is the guy.
Good guy.
Yeah. So what we'll do now, Daniel, is I'll put you back in the dark room as well, and bring out Tom, and then I'll bring the three of you out, and then that'll bring us towards the end of the first section. So just a quick summary: ex-artillery. You're looking for project management type roles. You're limited to the sort of the south of England. And you've already got a reference in, so that's pretty good going. So anything else you'd like to add before we bring Tom on?
The fact that my last job, I worked over a year over the COVID remotely, full time, with two children, still managing to take them to school and managing 12-hour shifts. So
yeah,
I am versatile, like you say.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
Just what you've done has been absolutely amazing. You have prioritized your family and made sure that your kids are safe. And for that, you should be receiving utmost respect. And never ever think that's a bad choice. It's been humbling to hear your story, and it's important for you to know from people like us from the outside that you've done the absolute right thing. We are here, and we're going to be working as hard as we can to help you get the role that the companies deserve you. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers, thank you, George and Matt.
So just stay in the dark room in the green room, and we'll bring the three of you back on in a minute. But the next one we've got up is Tom. Now I think you are in the dark room, Tom. We can't see you. Okay, are you there? Talk to us, Tom.
He's given up. He's not put 50p
I've
for
given
me,
up.
sir.
Yeah, because I'm running a tad late. Well, it's not too bad actually.
But I've met
just let,
Tom. I'll big Tom up now because I've met
yeah,
Tom at an event in London. Amazing guy. Again, lots of strength. You know, any company that needs someone. The thing that I sort of work with and sell to clients is this whole thing of concept of delivery. I have a little database I work myself. One of the options one of the functional groups I put down is deliver. And I was working with a friend. We're doing a bit of looking at a project to try and educate employers about the benefits of service leavers. Is this concept of delivery, and we come up with a really good functional acronym called deliver. So for service leavers, Tom, if you come up, I'll stop. But for deliver, it means that soldiers, sailors, air people are dependable.
yeah,
They're
absolutely,
employable
absolutely.
/ proven. You know, they're loyal, stable. They're innovative and resourceful. They're versatile and trained. Um, they're entrepreneurial and they're motivated. And most importantly, of all the things, they're resilient. And with COVID and all the other things, and it's not a criticism of anyone else, but one of the great strengths of service leaders is that resilience and that
Absolutely.
ability to deal with unplanned change, comfort and uncertainty, dynamism of Europe. We've all been there. We've been in an exercise and it goes, well, the whole plan's changed. Okay, it's gone with it. And it's brilliant. And I don't think actually that non-service leaders, and civilian employers realize that opportunity to hire service leavers with those great skills.
Indeed. We're having problems getting Tom on because I think we've got too many people queued up because we've got the companies are queued up now. Peter, can I just ask you whether you wouldn't mind just dropping out totally and
Of course,
join us in the other chat? That might give Tom room to get
no
on.
problem.
I think the restream has we've broken restream, so we'll bring him back on at the end, but hopefully that will allow Tom to come on. No, what we'll do, Tom, is we'll bring you on if you can try and stay on and try and fix the issue because we can't see you, and we'll bring you on. We'll bring you on at the end after the companies. We'll still give you your chance to come on. So thank you very much to Peter and Daniel, and hopefully we'll see Tom in a bit. And yeah, with a bit of with a bit of luck, this has stimulated some people to actually reach out. You put your contact details in. Just your tag yourselves in on the comments and people can get in contact with you. If they can't get in contact with you, contact me or George and we will put you in contact. So that's thank you very much, guys. That is the end of the first session. And there's Peter. He's now in as a viewer. So that's the end of the first session. What we're going to do now is we're going to bring on some organisations that are looking to hire veterans. Just before we do, Daniel, if I can ask you to drop out totally as well, just to give us a bit of bandwidth. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and we'll speak to you in a bit. The first one we've got coming on is Andy Fiddler from Thames Valley Police. I'm hoping we can see Andy. Yes, we have success.
Yeah.
Andy, how are you doing?
Evening, very well, thank you.
Yeah, we haven't met before, so we haven't had a chance to have a little bit of a chat about your military history or anything like that. But the primary focus of the second session is to just talk about the companies, talk about the roles that you're hiring for, because there's a lot of jobs out there, and there's a lot of benefit for a lot of companies to hire veterans. So what I'm going to ask, rather than give a bit of your service, if we can ask a little bit about Thames Valley Police, what you get up to. Obviously, it's fairly straightforward with the police, but what you get up to, and the roles that you're looking to hire.
Yeah, certainly. So Thames Valley is the largest non-metropolitan force outside of obviously the metropolitan, and we also pay the most, apart from the Met Police. So officers with us will start on 29,700, and then that'll rise to 46,000 within 7 years at top rate PCs pay. So what we're looking for are police officers. I'm doing some work with George at the moment. As you alluded to, I'm ex-military. I really see the benefit of bringing the military into policing. We lost it a little bit because of the government's drive to try and have everybody have degrees. My force was the leading force to bring in the old IPLDP entry route to policing, which is effectively the route where you don't need degrees and you don't have to get a degree. It's the old-fashioned way into policing. We are attending lots of military events. So the main roles: police officers, detention officers, police community support officers, but also, as well as we've got 4,800 police officers in our force, but we've also got 3,500 staff roles. So many people, so just hearing some of the stories there from, say, Peter, we have got a considerable amount of staff roles in our force and progression within there. And they range from IT managers, finance, senior crime managers, head of HR, head of learning and development. They're all civilian roles which go up to the civilian equivalent of an assistant chief constable. So there's a rank structure within there. So there are numerous roles we're looking for.
Right, so totally across the board. So what's it like? What sort of candidates are you looking for? What are the key skills you're looking for in a candidate? Obviously, in terms of education and other stuff, then there's a the core skills is quite a wide range. But is there any particular the softer skills that you're looking for and attitudes?
Yeah, so the main one is the common sense. It's the common sense, the communication skills, and the life experience that our military veterans bring into policing. The policing has gone quite. Our front line is quite young because of the that came in. So this is why we want the military veterans to come back in to bring that sense of life experience and pass on their skills. It's the reliability, it's their dedication, their performance. Their willingness to achieve, their problem solving, they're all the key elements what we're looking for in police officers.
Yeah, absolutely, and you've got it's a fairly straightforward, I would expect, transition from the police, from the armed forces to the police, because you've got a structure there. It's another uniform branch, and I don't know, George, whether you've got any comments on the transition from one to the other.
So Andy and I had a chat about this. We've talked on the impact, and it's great. And Andy's been incredibly proactive with this, and he's got massive support from senior leadership. So it's really good to see. We were talking about the veteran tax break, and then TVP are leveraging that to offer golden hello, which is amazing. The other thing as well is Andy made me aware that I wasn't aware, was that if service leavers, and it would probably suit service leavers 5 years or less, because by the time you've done 5 years or plus, you might have broke that 30k that you before, and you've done a few years, and it's not for you. You want geographic stability. It's a great opportunity. The other great thing is it means that, and Andy said that you can transfer your pension. So that means that that pension liability, that pension credits you worked for in the military, are not being sort of diluted. They're actually being added to what you're going to earn, hopefully a fulfilling career in the military. Certainly the police, and it's great. My wife's in the police. I'm very supportive of the police. My father-in-law was in the police, and having some veterans in the service will be great, because it just adds a little bit of difference of opinion, it's that resilience, it's that robustness. And you see this in the press all the time, that the other forces want that smartness, that self-discipline, and that professionalism, that sometimes some younger um, people that join the police find a little bit challenging.
Yeah. And what's it like working in the Thames Valley Police, Andy? How would you sum it up?
So it's challenging, but in a good way. Because as I said, the problem volume. But the main thing for me is the importance that my force places on looking after its workforce. So we are leading in a lot of the support we do, a lot of the mental health work that we do, and we've got groundbreaking services going on. One that I'm working on with Tony Adams at the moment with his charity. That's where my force really comes into its element. It treats it's a big family. It's like the military, it treats everybody like a big family, and there's so much support there for everybody all the way through your career.
I'd like to reiterate that, my wife's been in Thames Valley for over 10 years. It's a third, constabulary. It's been great, very supportive. My wife was very fortunate to receive a long service and good conduct medal a few months ago. And, the chief constable down, it's a great organisation. And I'm not just saying that, I'd be honest if it wasn't, but it absolutely is. It's a great force, and they take the hiring of veterans is a very high priority, and it offers, the people at the right place in their lives a great opportunity.
Excellent. And finally, Andy, before I bring Paul on from Lloyd Register, what's the best way to contact?
So what I'll do is I'll put my email in the chat. The best way is because I'm the sort of the recruitment lead for the force, so people can just contact me for all the police officer roles, and if they're interested in any police staff roles, if they let me know the kind of thing they're looking for, I'll make sure the right person contacts them.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, thank you very much for that. And that'll go for everybody. I'll get every hirer to put some contact details at some point in the chat, so we can go through them. So thank you very much, Andy, and I wish you success with your recruitment, and thank you very much for joining us on this. And please stick around in the green room, and I'll try and bring everybody off at the end if you have the time, obviously.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up. I don't want it to sound like feel like a sausage machine, but one in, one out. So, Paul, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you.
Yeah. So, Paul works for Lloyd Register, and I've worked for Lloyd Register as well, on and off for a number of years, and we work together and do at the moment, sort of thing. So, just give us a little bit of a flavour of Lloyd Register from you rather than me.
Okay. You can hear me okay, yeah?
Yes, fine, thank you. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I'm not sure whether that many people generally will know about Lloyd's Register. Certainly those in the Navy might. We're an organisation that's been around for 250 years, effectively survey and inspecting high value assets like ships and offshore rigs, a little bit of land-based infrastructure from time to time, but essentially writing rules, standards, surveying, kit and equipment, issuing certificates, which are then used to demonstrate that these high-value assets are safe. We liken our role to the person who gives you your MOT certificate for your car, basically, but it takes a little longer to do an offshore rig or a aircraft carrier. But yeah, it's essentially what we do. So we've got a variety of roles, people who are looking at the design of naval ships and assets, people who are boots on the ground in shipyards doing surveys and inspections, and also in manufacturers, and materials factories as well. So a whole variety of technical jobs, but then also support jobs as well to keep that operation running. So that's us in short, I think.
Yeah, and so you're based in Bristol, but the roles are UK and for the naval business, but also worldwide for other aspects of Lloyd Register.
Yeah, so we're a global company, quite a small global company. Operating in about 180 countries around the world. Essentially, wherever there's a port, you'll find a Lloyd surveyor. Just in the UK at the moment, we've got 33 vacancies. I was just taking a look at our website. 6 of those are for surveyors in the UK. So jobs that people coming out of Navy or forces could be applying for if they're interested in doing a surveyor role. So yeah, that's what's up there on the board at the moment on the Lloyd's jobs website.
And in terms of surveyor, reaching a level of surveyor, historically, Lloyd's the surveyors would need degrees, but you're starting to take equivalent experience. So this is where the Navy comes in, that sort of thing.
So the traditional routes into Lloyd's Register for a surveyor role were either a degree qualified sort of naval architect or engineer, or someone who is a chief engineer, served their time in the merchant Navy. So those have always been the traditional routes into surveyor, but we're broadening that quite a bit. So we're taking people on as graduates, but also looking now at taking people that are mid-career, maybe switching career, either coming out of the forces or the merchant Navy, with a second's ticket or a chief's ticket, and looking to get involved in surveying activities. So what I would say is don't be put off by the words that are in the advert, because the adverts stick to the traditional route, if you like. If you've got the necessary sort of practical experience, working on ships, understand ships, then don't be afraid to put your CV in and apply for some of the surveyor jobs that are out there, because we're really looking for people who have the right sort of character and attitude. And if you're the right person, we will invest in your training and education. So we will look at how we upskill or develop your competencies to get you to the place that we need you to be surveying. And in the meantime, learning on the job and developing on the job. So yeah, we're quite keen to put in place training and support for people to develop skills and experience. So yeah, don't be put off by some of the requirements in the job if you think you've got the skills. And I'd always say, absolutely, always write a cover letter. Never just throw your CV in. Always write a cover letter that explains, how you want to work with Lloyd's or any other company for that matter. How you want to work with that company to develop your skills and experience to do the job if you're feeling that you might be a little bit short in one or two areas, because most companies I know will invest in people.
The interesting thing is people generally read the cover letter before they read the CV. So if your CV meets probably, let's say, 75% of the criteria, the cover letter will actually probably get them swaying towards you as a person rather than your CV as an instrument to get you a job. So
just make sure if you're applying to several companies, you make sure you write the cover letter specific to the company that you're applying for. I've seen one or two with the wrong company name in them. That's an immediate turn off.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And whom may concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And how would you describe working at Lloyd's Register?
The thing that keeps me working at Lloyd's Register is the variety. I'm sure you'd agree, Matt. I've been in so many different roles and jobs over my career, with lots of opportunity and to get experience and to learn. It's a great place to develop. We've got job to do, we've got work to do, but Lloyd's is quite good at giving a little bit of space for you to develop as a person as well, both technically and with your sort of skills and competencies.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because it's taken
Are
me
you
all
aware
over
of
the
the military networking at Lloyd's? I was at a networking event in the city a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Probably 8 weeks ago. One of the chaps was at Lloyd's, and there's actually a veterans program.
Okay, Lloyd's Register was that?
Lloyd's of London.
So
different.
Yeah, so we are different. Yeah, so no, I'm glad you mentioned that, because so the best way to so Lloyd's Register is like the MOT people, and Lloyd's of London is like your insurance company.
Yeah, the insurance company has a very strong veterans program. It's great to see that Lloyd's Register are supporting it as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so we are looking at engaging with veterans with the right skills and competencies, and encouraging veterans to explore the opportunities that we've got available. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. And again, if you can put your contact details or how you best, probably the best way to do it is contact me first, and then I can put people in the right direction. But if you want to put your contact details in the chat, then so people can reach out. And thank you very much, Paul. And I will put you back in the grey room, and I will bring Malcolm on from Wood. Thank you, Paul. See you in a bit. Now, this is probably one of my favourite bits, because Paul Binney was a Veterans Voice guest a while back from Wood, and we had a bit of a laugh because you are Gold Covenant holders.
Indeed, we are. Yeah.
Yes.
So since 2020, we and prior to that, obviously they signed the covenant in 2018. So as a foundation, one of the things that I would always advise people to do is to look across those organizations who are signed up to the military covenant and or are gold or silver award members. And it's a really good way of identifying those organizations who should be forces friendly, because they've signed up to that award.
And Paul will give me grief if I don't play this, because we played this because he was a Gold Covenant holder. So
you're well aware that I stepped in at very short notice and didn't realise that you were going to be quite so cheesy, Matt. I mean, that I have to tell you was
it's the ultimate,
uncalled for. But thank you.
That's it. Yeah. So very good. So anyway, tell us a little bit about Wood.
So Wood is 35,000 people right the way across the globe, 60 countries, and we are one of the leading consulting and engineering companies who focused on energy and materials. Founded in Scotland, very large employer in Scotland, but right the way across the United Kingdom, with offices stretching in Wales through to the southeast, southwest, and in the northeast and northwest of the United Kingdom. Split into essentially 3 business units: consulting, projects, and operations, and then the group functions as well, of which I'm one of the group functions. I'm the Global Chief Information Security Officer,
which is quite a big role at the moment, especially in the modern day with information security management systems, etc.
Yeah, that's right. And you look at, you might well say that oil was the new gold. I would say data is the new oil and is the new gold.
Yeah.
And so actually ensuring that you can secure that and also utilize that is absolutely key.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what sort of roles are you looking for in Wood, and where are these roles?
Yeah, so we are a global company, so they are right the way across the globe. But I've had a quick look on our website, and there are 360 roles in the UK currently live on our website, and they range obviously from the engineering side, and there's a strong connection between the REME and the aircraft engineers, subsea engineers, and the Royal Engineers in those direct engineering roles. And I look across the Armed Forces network, and there is representatives from Royal Navy, Royal Air Force, and the Forces and the Army engineering organisations. But equally so, project managers, human resources, business development, and indeed I'm hiring an InfoSec manager role at the moment, and have a military intern who we employ for a period of time, 6 months during that transition period. So they've got that experience of working in a cybersecurity organisation in a corporate environment.
Right, and because you're the head of the military group within Wood, you're a very good advocate for the type of people that we've George and I have been discussing throughout the.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, but more importantly, there is a significant recognition from executive leadership right the way through the organisation as to the benefits of hiring ex-forces, but also reservists as well. And so we pride ourselves in hiring remarkable people. And having spent 20 years in the forces, I know that the forces in turn have a population of remarkable people, and so therefore matching the values that Wood has with the values that a veteran or reservist has is quite an easy task.
Yeah. And what's the best way for anybody who's watching this to get in contact, or is it through the website, or is there a veterans or reservists channel?
Yeah, so there's probably the first thing I would do is take a look at the website. It said 360 roles across a variety of different different positions. But I would also at connecting with a Wood military network, and I'll drop that email in the chat later, and or myself. And I think one of the challenges that any veteran has is translating the CV from the military into the civilian and making it pertinent, particularly for the organisation that they're focusing on. And one of the things that we do with the Armed Forces Network is essentially buddy up with individuals who are wanting to gain entry to the Wood environment, and we walk through their CV and translate it into Wood speak, so to speak, and then ensure that they've got an ability to connect with people from the Armed Forces Network, perhaps in the area that they're focusing on. So there's an opportunity to try before you buy, so to speak, with how does it fit with their prior experience.
Brilliant. That's excellent. Thank you very much for that. And I'm going to put you back in the grey room, and feel free to hang around until the end, or bring everybody back on. But thank you very much for that. And please also, if you want to, if you've got any contact or are happy to be contacted by veterans, then please pop your details in the chat. Thank you very much, Malcolm. Next up we have Dan Marshall, yet another veteran's voice veteran.
Hello and good evening. How are you doing?
How are you doing? And the signal, I must say, since you got over that Fenternet, is because Dan lives out in the Fens, and there's absolutely no signal out there. It's no, since you upgraded, it's brilliant.
Yeah, to top. Yeah, great to be
So
here.
you are a reservist, and you work for a company called Inzpire. What are they all about?
Right, so Inzpire is a very rapidly growing company set up in 2005. It was born out of a couple of veterans who got together, who were pretty passionate about what they were doing, but believed that they could do something better in the sort of defence contractor world. Everybody that's been brought on from the outset have got deep military experience with a passion that they could do something differently and better for the boys and girls in uniform, really. We're about 300 strong now. 80% of us are veterans of a tri-service flavour. And what we tend to recruit, though, are specific people with skills that are outstanding, with credentials that are at the top of their game, to be able to give back something to the British military, but also our close allies and partners out internationally. So while we're relatively small at 300, we are rapidly growing. We've got 13 different divisions spanning pretty much most parts of defence, predominantly focused initially on training, but we also offer consultancy and expertise. From an RAF perspective, people with a QY background are the kind of people that we would bring. High-end warfare instructors from the Royal Navy. People who are instructors and mentors across all three services. Exactly the kind of people we're after. And ultimately, we want to move that into managed services as well. But right now, once again, we are looking to bolster our team of incredible people with those that have got that not only the credentials of being an instructor or having, kudos of being at the top of their game, but somebody who's still really passionate and wants to get on with it to, give something back, albeit in a business sense, but yet in a company that's pretty much aligned, a lot of the time embedded with the military. So while you may have, as was mentioned before about, putting your family first, we can still do that and yet still, offer service back, albeit through a company like ourselves.
Yeah, and it is a fascinating company because we covered it on Veterans Voice. But is it true that Inzpire was started by a conversation between two wing commanders in a pub?
Pretty much, I think they were in a rather swanky place in London, but absolutely, that was the rumor that we all believe. That they were over a bottle of wine and put tenors on the table. Let's go and do it, and got amongst it, and they've created a amazingly successful company. The company is now owned by Kinetic Group overall, but we are operationally independent. And our raison d'etre is to have very, very credible people that offer that kind of service that have followed those guys in the pub's lead.
Excellent. Now, another question: are you Gold Covenant holders?
We are, absolutely, yeah. Have been since 2019.
Gold! Yes.
Absolutely. And having met Tony Hadley in Kuwait doing a CSE show, I can verify that.
Yeah, excellent. Well done, jolly good. And there's one more coming, so it's cheese all the way through. But anything you want to add about employing veterans or how to contact you or anything?
Sure, just a few things. We've got a number of roles open at the moment. Not all of them in my area. The one I'm specifically looking for right now is ex-military fixed-wing unmanned air systems operators. Ideally, if they've got an instructor background, probably with a land background in sort of experience, but that can be, Royal Navy, Royal Air Force, and obviously the British Army of any flavour. Looking for people that are in and around the Wiltshire area right now. This is for an immediate sort of, look at for an expression of interest. But we have a number of other offers on our website right now, including mission data programmers, cyber planners, as well as Royal Navy warfare instructors for White Force sort of training. So if they've got anybody's got any of that kind of background, please look at Inzpire with a Z.com and our careers page. And regularly we are, putting out new job offers because we are expanding pretty rapidly, and we're on all the usual social medias.
Excellent. And if you can pop your and with all of the hirers, if you can pop your website in the chat as well, that would be great. Just so everybody knows, we have broken the chat. There's not many LinkedIn live streams that actually run with this many people coming on and out. And the other one that I did used to run with the breakfast burrito. If anybody's seen that before, we broke the chat a few times on that. So this is a success story in that we broke the chat because that means there's a lot of people watching this. Excellent. I can't see how many at the moment, so that's pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to put you back in the box, Dan. Thank you very much. And I'm going to bring on Stephen Strathy, if I can find him, because there's lots of people down here. And here he is. And I'm going to put Dan back in the box. Stephen, how are you doing?
Good evening. Yeah, very well. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So Dan's gone. So just so this is the first for you, isn't it? And you posted earlier on that you're excited. It's not slightly nervous, but as I say, we're amongst friends here. But we were put in touch via a mutual connection that I've never met. But you work for a company called Intermoor.
Yes, I do. Yeah. So Kevin Ashcroft put us together, didn't he? And yes. Kevin's actually ex-RAF, as I understand it, and we then found out through talking about that we'd actually worked at the same company previously. Yeah. And that led to the conversation I was speaking about hiring, and he said, why don't you get in touch with Matt? So that was that kind of introduction, if you like, wasn't it? A week or so back. So yeah, I guess then a little bit about Intermoor. So Intermoor are a subsea mooring and anchors company. So part of the acting group, of which there's 30 such companies Actian. So quite a big employer and player in the energy services. Intermoor themselves and mooring and anchors, what do I mean by that? Anything that is really moored to the seabed, be that permanent or temporary, is really viewed as the business of Intermoor globally. I happen to work for the UK department or UK group operating company. There are, depending who you talk to, 4 or 5 such companies throughout the world, Intermoor companies throughout the world. In terms of what's a moored asset, that can be an FPSO, so that's a converted tanker. FPSO is a floating production and storage offshore. That's where we hold oil and it can be gas as well, but it's essentially moored to the seabed and it weather vanes according to the prevailing conditions. We also happen to move drilling rigs as well. They're temporarily moored to the seabed, and that's where my department comes in primarily. We provide positioning services to the oil rig owners and the oil companies that are looking to move these rigs to do drilling operations for them.
And so, what sort of roles would you be looking for, and what sort of jobs are involved with your company?
Yes, so there are a variety of roles within Intermoor and indeed Actian at the moment. Some of the guys have alluded to that as well within their own companies. For us at the moment in Intermoor, there's 48 live positions. Those range between onshore and offshore positions as well throughout the Actian group. So not just Intermoor, but actually 48 here in the UK. For myself, though, I guess I can speak with authority about the positioning opportunities that are out there currently. We're looking for survey engineers at the moment. Survey engineers for us, they tend to go and mobilise navigation equipment to vessels and to rigs and also to FPSOs. The survey engineer is in charge of interfacing this equipment. Now, it could be to the vessel's own navigation system. It could well be to an ROV that is due to go subsea. It could well be to an oil rig where we're looking to set up communication, a Wi-Fi communication network, or, so it's pretty multifaceted, highly skilled. The other thing, of course, is to actually maintain and repair it when it's out there. If we have faults, if some of the equipment falls over for whatever reason, the first line of defence would be the survey engineer to actually get it spun up again. That can be simply as putting in a spare into the line. It could involve some other, kind of fault finding techniques as well. So for that job, just to kind of give a final flavour for that, anyone we seek to employ, the first port of call for us before going offshore is actually to spend time in the workshop, learning the gear, actually maintaining the gear, putting it through its paces in terms of getting it turned around and prepared to go out from another job to, if you like, the next deployment. We asked the guys that are survey engineers and surveyors for us to come in and do that for 3 months before they go offshore, so that they're better placed and can be a more integral part of the team as soon as they go offshore.
And what sort of person are you looking for in terms of personal attributes?
Yeah, so a lot of the employers have touched on this already. We're recruiting for a mindset right now. We want somebody who can think on their feet. We want somebody who's resilient. It's a tough old environment out there offshore. It's not a war zone. I'm not going to allude to anything like that. It's not only that, but it's sometimes about being on a boat that's been bouncing up and down in terrible weather for 40 hours, and then you have to go and do your role. You have to go and spin up this equipment. You have to go and demobilize this equipment. That can be tough. That can be tough when the sea's been, taking you to here, there, and everywhere and back again, and you've had no manner of escaping that. So we need resilience, and sometimes, there can be a job's ready to go. You can be told you're going on a boat. You can be told you're getting on a helicopter, and then that job can be cancelled because the weather's blown up, and you're put back and you're stood down. Similarly, on the way when you're out there, you may well be trying to get home, and some of our boys had last week had flights cancelled because of trigger lightning. They couldn't actually get off that rig. That takes a mentality. It takes a resilience to continue to do your job whilst you're kind of subject to these external pressures that you're not in control of.
Yeah, so you'd be keen to talk to anyone interested in working as a offshore or as an engineer with your organisation. So again, if you pop your contact details into the chat, and then I know you've sent me some roles through to have a look at. So we'll take a look at that, and I'll see if I can find anybody in the network.
One final thing, if I can mention, just at the moment, it just come to me. Yes, we are looking for survey engineers, but at the moment, our global QHSE manager is also ex-forces. Our business development manager is also ex-forces. So as much as I'll put this through, I would encourage people to have a look at the website too, because there may well be other roles that I've not discussed tonight.
Yeah, and that's a really important point, because if you're looking to work with a company, this is for hunters, sorry, is look at the company website, look at the people that work for that company, look at the history around the people that work for that company. It might find that you've got several people who served at the same time as you, who served in the same force as you, so it's well worth looking. But thank you very much, Stephen. I'm going to put you back in the green room again, and I'm going to bring the final hirer before we go back to Tom. So thank you very much, Stephen. I'm going to bring Mark back on. I'll bring him on first because I can see him, and then I'm just going to put Stephen in the dark place. So Mark, how are you doing? Oh, we've got Mark's another veteran's voice veteran. So he was one of my guests, but I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
No, I should be.
That's good.
Yeah, still
going? I got you.
Yeah.
So Mark, we've
Yes.
met a few times. You were on Veteran's Voice a while back, talking about your journey and waking up in Mallorca, which was I think a fantastic story. But we'll save that for another day for everybody else. Just tell us a little bit about Bridgeway. I'm just conscious we've gone a little bit over time, and there's a lot of very good people hanging in the green room, and I appreciate it. So just tell us a bit about Bridgeway.
No problem. Okay, we're a rail business. Very in brief, set up by three guys in '95 when rail was privatised. Since then, we've diversified. We've come out the other end. We were an SME. Now we've gone out the top end of that. About a 35 million turnover this year, employing about 600 people in a variety of roles.
So I say it's across the rail industry, and you've got a high proportion of people that are ex-forces already in Bridgeway.
We do. I've got pretty much every service. I haven't got anybody from Crab Air at the minute. My apologies, but every other one, even got a Matlow or two. Fleet managers and ex-submariner. We'll recruit from all over the place. As the others have alluded to, I'm less worried about formal qualifications. I'm more worried about people that we can train up properly to do a job for us.
Yeah, it's a mentality, isn't it, and a mindset, and you can teach the skills.
A great quote I was given by a client was, "People want to hire the attitude."
Yep.
And it's such a simple thing, but until someone says it, you don't get it.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. What sort of roles are you hiring for at the moment?
Anything, Matt, pretty much right the way from apprentice up to sort of program manager level, and all the way through for a range of disciplines. We've got 39 active vacancies at this minute in time, mostly based down the eastern side of the country. We've got contract rail for the next 5 to 6 years, framework contracts, delivering work from Berwick upon Tweed down to King's Cross, all the way out into Anglia. And I'm looking for boots on ballast, and I'm also looking for people who can do the support service side of life as well.
Right. And the support service, just out of interest, does that need to be at a location, or can that be remote?
We have a mix. What we found with pure remote working is people seem to get a bit disengaged from the team and feel like they're out on a limb somewhat. So we've gone to hybrid, having people in the office a couple of times a week, and then if it suits their life better to work remotely, doesn't really matter to me. They've got targets to deliver. Skills, they know it. How they get it done is up to them, as long as it's done.
And what's it like working for Bridgeway?
a challenge in a good way. It's nothing's the same every day. George, I think you were at the Gender event in London.
Yeah, I was.
You look, yeah. As I explained to people there, we're all ex-military. We've all followed rules that bear no rhyme or reason. The only industry that beats the military is the rail. But what that means is for us, it's a really, really easy fit straight away. Very good at learning rules and regulations. You're very good at working within a safety critical environment. And quite a lot of the jobs we have to do are time pressured at night when we can shut the rail line. People will get 8 hours during the day to do what we have to do in 4 hours at night. It's wet, it's cold, it's dirty, but it's 4 hours long. So I put the military lads in, mix them through with the civil lads. They keep the morale up. Pardon the language, they just take the piss all night whilst working hard and getting it done and keeping everybody motivated.
Well, it was interesting. I was speaking to a colleague who was a sapper officer, and there were some sappers, some Gurkha sappers, and some Royal Anglians, and they were building a Nightingale hospital, and they made it a competition. So they had different shifts. So what it was how many blocks could we make in a shift.
Yeah.
And again, as you say, it's that sort of military mentality of healthy competition, which can drive those effects-based outcomes forward.
Oh, completely. Have two ex-sapper lads digging trial pits against each other on track, so you could get the most done in the 6 hours. Brilliant. Exactly. You crack on, fellas.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the best way to contact you or?
They're all on the website. Matt, as you know, I'm active on LinkedIn. I've seen Tom Coker's just linked into me just prior to this. Have a look, see what you think. If you think we're for you, dead easy to make contact with me or with one of the HR girls who are all over LinkedIn as well, and we'll take it from there.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to put you back in dark place as well for a couple of minutes and speak to Tom, and then if anyone's if everyone's happy to jump back on, I'll bring you all on just for a final hurrah. So thank you very much, Mark, and speak to you in a minute.
Thanks, Mark.
So Tom, this is the person we couldn't get hold of. Success, we have 100% success rate. So we're running about 10 minutes behind schedule, but that's not bad, bearing in mind the amount of people we've had on tonight. This is the most we've had on, and we've had a few technical issues as well. So that's not too bad. But Tom is not a hirer; he's a hunter. So he was in the first session, but we had a technical issue. So just give us a little bit about yourself, Tom, history, and what you're up to now.
Hi, Matt. Hi, George. Hi all. So my name's Tom. I'm leaving the army after 18 years. I've had a fantastic time, but just looking for something new. I've got a family, and I'm looking to give them a bit more stability than I've had. So my background, I did law at Durham, then joined Sandhurst in 2005, commissioned 2006, went to the cavalry. And was lucky enough to do Telecom tanks, and then bounced back to do Herrick on my feet as well. So I got both tours as a young officer, which was awesome. Bounced around quite a lot as before I promoted before I promoted to major, and did various things through signals, adjutant at Harrogate, which was quite interesting for 1,400 under 18 people under training, which presented some fairly interesting challenges. And then plans job in Helmand, and then promoted, went off to Shrivenham to do a taught MSc, and then staff college. Worked at DSTL at Porton Down, which was great fun. And then short notice went back to squadron lead up in Cashrick, which was fantastic. We've got the NATO High Readiness Squadron. And then at even shorter notice, 4 days in fact, was deployed to Cabrit to be the first Chief of Staff, setting up the headquarters in Tallinn, which was a really interesting challenge, to say the least. I arrived, there were 4 of us. The brief I had was get out there, write the orders, deploy the force, don't mess up, and which is the most succinct brief I've ever had in my life. And that was really fun because NATO at the time, obviously it's very topical now, but NATO was just waking up again to the threat to the east, and so I was getting to sit in and work all of the rules of engagement and do the strategic planning for the mission, which was really quite something. Also got to dust off my GCSE French as well, because we've got a load of French officers in the MOE in the headquarters, and so that proved quite fun. Moved to Shrivenham, got to teach there for 3 years. Opera script with the Welsh Government doing their COVID plans, which was, again, it was great to be involved and contribute to the effort there. And now working at Basing Infrastructure, just to get a bit of finance knowledge and look more at sort of environmental and social governance matters, sort of carbon capture and that sort of thing, prior to going to the working world.
So when you're available?
So looking for October next year, and looking either management consultancy, sort of risk analysis, strategy or design, that sort of thing, or chief of staff or chief ops for a tech startup. So we live near Oxford, and I'm looking forward to catching up with George with a brew in person at some point, hopefully. And yeah, there are lots of tech startups hereabouts. I love dealing with experts and forming teams and getting ideas off the ground. So that's where I'm leaning. But yeah, I would
watch Veterans Voice tomorrow night if you want, because it's all about entrepreneurial business startups, starting your own business. So that'd be a worthwhile watching. But all those skills, fantastic in a fantastic in any role in Civvy Street, because you've sort of demonstrated adaptability at very, very short notice, getting things up and running and just doing it. And you know, one advantage or one benefit of employing somebody who's served in the military is you get the job done with half the equipment that you usually expect to do. And what would you consider is you have to offer? What would be your greatest skills, you think?
I think making people comfortable, more than anything else, which might sound a little bit odd, but if you make people comfortable, then actually they're more willing to work and work well, in my experience. I have never had a problem connecting with anyone from any background and getting them to come round together in a team, and that was sort of through university and then through the military.
And I'm guessing, having served for quite some time, you've amassed quite a few LCAS credits as well.
I've amassed a few, and I've got an MA, an MSc, and an MBA at the moment, and I still do a few bits. But yeah.
So that's good to get all that under your belt before you leave. So geographically, whereabouts are you?
Just north of Oxford. London's
so you're
fairly
staying
easy.
down that way?
Yes, yeah, we've got our own place. So
right,
yeah,
excellent.
I'd like to point out that everyone I met and engaged with in the cavalry is, and what Tom said is absolutely on the money. That comfort, that inclusivity is not universal in the military. It should be, but it isn't. But the cavalry make it a very friendly, a very safe, a very inclusive environment. You know, they really rate their soldiers, and they see the value they bring to. So that is a huge trait that Tom can bring to the party, and I know that already. So I'm looking for that. You know, it's something that shouldn't be underestimated.
Absolutely. So anyone wants to contact Tom, then feel free to reach out and hit his LinkedIn connection. So that really brings us to the end of the session. I say we're running a little bit late, but I'm going to bring everybody back in from the room and just a little bit of a chat towards the end. Let's see if we can fill this up without breaking it. I think that's everybody. I can see most people. That's not bad going. So yeah, it's just to say thank you very much, everybody. I know some people have had to drop off, and I wouldn't expect everyone to hang around, and just appreciate everybody for taking their time to come and advertise their organisation or their personal skills, and obviously there's contact can be made with these with the people who have spoken with us tonight. I've had in the private chat, everyone's put all their details in, and I will transfer those over onto the main post a little bit later on. So it just leaves me to say thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time out to support the veteran community, and hopefully we can get some conversations happening and get some veterans employed. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm just going to run the final credits, and then we will be offline. So thank you very much, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Pleasure.